Winter's here, and let's face it, dressing for the cold can feel like choosing between the inner warmth of a fire fit and actual warmth. But it doesn't have to be that way, and after this video, it won't be. I'm going to show you how to build a winter wardrobe that's cozy, stylish, practical, there's no bulk, there's no fuss, there's just smart choices and layers that leads to a sharp look. So if that sounds like something you're into, let's dive in. Let's start with the most important piece of winter style, outerwear. Your coat is the first thing people see, and it's also the thing that's going to stop you turning into a corpse skull. A wool overcoat is a must. It's not just for dressing up, but even more so, it's for that big pants, big hoodie trend that I'm absolutely loving right now. Stick with neutral colours like navy, brown or charcoal, maybe a subtle tweed. They're timeless and pair well with almost anything. Now you're going to want to look to brands like Hansen, De Bon Facture, American Trench, or also checking vintage options. That's a great way to save some money. For casual days or the absolutely freezing weather, a down-filled puffer jacket is just a lifesaver. It's lightweight and it's insanely warm. If you want a pro tip, go for water-resistant fabric to handle unexpected slushy snow or rain. Think of brands like Crescent Downworks, Rocky Mountain Featherbed, Nanga for top tier, or budget-friendly Uniqlo. It's also amazing. The pea coat sits perfectly between dressy and casual. It's double-breasted, it's sharp, and it's ideal for layering. Think of... Actually, you know what? First think of vintage options. They are great, just like the overcoat. For new, check out Schott, Buzz Rixon's, or maybe Gloverall as well. If you're in some serious cold climates or need certain functionality, a technical parka is just a no-brainer. You're going to want to look for specific fabrics. I mean, Gore-Tex is great, but it's not always necessary. Basically, you're going to make a decision based on the functionality that you actually need. Look for brands like Arc'teryx, Nanamica, North Face. Second-hand options will also save you a bunch of money. Next up, knitwear. This is where you really start to layer up without losing any style points. And we're going to start with turtlenecks. They're warm and versatile. Turtlenecks work under pretty much any outerwear and will give any piece of outerwear a certain sophisticated vibe, even if you are an ingrate like me. You're going to want to look at brands like Anderson, Heimat, Jackman, GRP, and Mertzby Schwanen. They do some great ones too. Sitting alongside turtlenecks are chunky knit sweaters. They will add some texture and warmth to your look, and they are a little bit less dressy, a little bit less formal than that turtleneck. Wool and cashmere are the way to go. Brands like Howland, American Trench, or again, GRP. Then we have cardigans. They are massively underrated. A good shawl collar cardigan can double as light outerwear, and the thinner ones are great for layering. Brands like RRL, the Real McCoys, or 316. They do some great ones. Now we're going to move down to the bottom. Not underwear, footwear. All the way to the bottom. Your feet take the brunt of the winter, so let's make sure that they're sorted out. First up, a pair of solid leather boots is non-negotiable. Chelsea boots or lace-ups both work. Just avoid leather soles. It's not worth the broken hip. You're going to want to look at brands like Red Wing, Viberg, Paraboots, maybe even Danner. Sneakers. Now, you're probably surprised hearing that come out of my mouth, but you want a pair of sneakers, but wintry ones. It's kind of like the tech jacket thing. If you need it, you really should. Insulated sneakers with weatherproofing are a great option. Look for brands like Nike ACG, Salomon, or Roa. Rubber boots, Wellington boots, Wellies, Gummistiefel, that's in German. Listen, if you need them, get them. Just don't buy them to cosplay the crown. Moving on to pants, because your legs need a little love too. And I'm going to start from the inside out with thermal underwear. Merino wool for really extreme cold, cotton for the milder days. For me, a brand called Dilling, that's my go-to. I know people swear by the Uniqlo stuff, but I just found them very plasticky, very sweaty, didn't work for me. The good thing about the merino wool is it is very warm, but also breathable. And now moving to the outside. You can swap your regular cotton pants, jeans, whatever, for warmer, more refined wool ones. You want them at least 2/3 lined, otherwise it gets a bit scratchy. Now for one that I see popping up more and more these days, it's having a little bit of a renaissance, and that is corduroy. It adds texture and that is perfect for winter. Brands like All Evil, Beams Plus, or even Capital if you're looking for something pretty unique. Now we're going to move on to some accessories. In winter, accessories aren't just for show, they're crucial. And here's what you need. A scarf. Wool or cashmere scarves keep you warm and add some texture, some style. Neutrals are classic. patterns add a bit of personality. Brands, Anderson Anderson again, Heimat again, 316 again. These are the brands that I've got some experience with and I can really stand behind. Now, the gloves. I know there's a bunch of technical options out there. Again, like the sneakers, like the tech jacket. If you need them, get them. But for me, leather gloves, they are just a game changer. Hestra is great, but for the deep, deep winter, and my personal choice for all of my gloves going forward for the rest of my life, is going to be the Sullivan Glove Company. It is, in my opinion, unbeatable. Keep the head warm. If it's not too cold, you can just get a bit of a thicker version, wool version of a cap. Think of Ebbets Field flannels, and that's all the wool caps I know. If it's getting a little bit colder, then a beanie is a good option. Fitted wool or cashmere beanie is practical and adds a kind of a laid back vibe. You probably get idiots talking about how cold your ears must be, but just ignore them.
So a lot of people ask me, Will, you've managed to make the tiny beanie a whole personality. Why don't you give me some tips on how to style the thing? And obviously, as inventor of the tiny beanie, I do have some small pearls of wisdom to dispense upon you. Like, for example, don't be burdened by the petty trivialities of, say, good taste or physics. Just throw that thing on at a jaunty angle and hope for the best. You really want people to walk towards you in fear temporarily that the earth is sort of tilted on its own axis. And as for the clearance between the lobe and the cuff there, you really want nothing more than a slight flirtation. Just a nibble. Just enough room for something small and insignificant, like a pen, or a sense of personal style, or a capacity for independent thought.
Or just buy one that fits over your ears. Whichever. Brands like Merspace Shannon, Upstate Stock, or Howlin', they all do great ones. Then for the Tootsies, pair of thermal socks. Thick wool socks. Think of merino, alpaca, merino and alpaca. Alpacas are like alpacas, but they're webbed. Anyway, these are essential. Ski socks are great also if you want a little bit of extra length. Go for brands like Rototo, Red Wing are really good, and anonymous. That one that I can't say. It's here anyway. Before we go any further, let me explain a little bit. I'm not going from the inside out or the outside in. I am stacking these in levels of things that I think are most important. And next on that list are base layers. They are kind of your secret weapon for winter dressing. Because with the right base layer, a fit that you'd be freezing your ass off and becomes suddenly cozy and warm. We covered this just quickly earlier on, but I still think that merino is the best, not only for your legs, but for your top as well. It's breathable and warm without making you sweaty. As I said, Dilling is my go-to for quality. And yeah, the Uniqlo Heat Tech, as well as the making my legs sweaty, they also make my upper sweaty as well. I hated it. Most folks seem to be fine with it, so maybe it's worth a go. It's certainly a lot cheaper than the Dilling stuff. And then you have your waffle long sleeve. I love these things. There's so much texture, it's so cozy. It's an amazing layering piece. And just very practical. Brands like 316, Ironheart do amazing ones, Jackman also, and the Real McCoys. Okay, let's finish this off by talking about a few practical extras. These are things that are easy to overlook, but they do make a huge difference. And let's start off with an umbrella. I'm not usually a fan, but when I have them and I need them, it's a lifesaver. Go cheap, you're going to lose it anyway. Then, in the same kind of vein as the umbrella, a weatherproof bag is great for protecting your computer or your papers or whatever stuff you've got in the bag you don't really want to get wet. Wax canvas is really stylish, but tech fabrics, yeah, they're just the most practical. You're going to want to look at brands like Porter Yoshida, Chrome, Bleu de Chauffe, which I'm certain I'm pronouncing wrong. Who else? Nah, that'll do. Yeah, okay, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Filson. But really, I think they're disgustingly overpriced these days, so yeah. Now, let's give your original base layer, your skin, a little bit of love. I mean, the dry winter is brutal, so you need to keep your skin protected. I use Norwegian formula. O'Keeffe's is really good as well. They're budget options. If you feel a little bit fancy, go for Aesop or Grown Alchemist. That's hard to say. And then, really before we wrap things up, let's talk about fabrics. For winter, you're going to want to stick with wool, sheep wool. It's naturally insulating and it's extremely breathable. Can be a little bit scratchy at times. If you're bothered by that, then cashmere, merino, alpaca, they are really good. They're luxurious, they're soft, they're warm, they share all of the qualities of wool. They can be a little bit more expensive, but also, yeah, they don't have so many of the drawbacks of wool, the scratchiness basically. Then there's flannel, it's cozy, it adds texture. It comes in any and all patterns and colors and whatever, so you can really mix and match with a piece of flannel. Then there's the corduroy, we mentioned that earlier. It's durable, it's winter ready. I mean, really the common thread here is natural fibers. They really are your best bet for balancing style and functionality and longevity. I mean, there's a good reason you can find a lot of these pieces vintage, because simply they last. There you have it. You've got your ultimate winter wardrobe. I hate using that word ultimate. You've got your winter wardrobe essentials. You've got your coats all the way to the accessories you'll need. And these pieces will keep you cozy, warm and comfortable and stylish all season. But I'd be curious to know what you guys are adding to your wardrobe, or what you've already added to your wardrobe. I mean, just let me know in the comments below. And if the video helped, hit like, that would be great. Maybe subscribe, tap that bell icon. I wrote this in the script, and it's hard to say. It's the stylish thing to do. Yeah, sorry, really sorry. Anyway, whatever. Stay warm, stay sharp, and I'll catch you in the next one.